Great opportunity for a family to make this particular home their own. 239 square metres, approximately a living space. So you've got the bones, you've got the size of the home. What about that block of land, Bob? 1,239 square metres. You'd fit 3 of those in the new estates. So you've got the block size, big as beautiful. You've got the house size, big as beautiful. A little bit of cosmetic changes in the inside. Make it your own. Your flair of your paintbrush and your toolbox, and watch your capital grow. My name is Frank Pompiani. I'm delighted to be your auctioneer for this afternoon's sale. On behalf of Bob Murphy and our team at Eldrick Belconnen, we firstly thank our sellers for entrusting us to be their agent, and buyers bid with the confidence. We had undoubtedly a dreaded time the last 8 weeks or so, with not to go back into that again, but however, as each restrictions, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, now's the time to buy. Because what you'll be seeing are property prices rise towards the second part of the year, and you'll probably walk back and say, wow, I could have purchased something in Hammett Place, and now I'm paying more for equivalent property. If you can find something with a 1,239 square metre plus the land, and near on 240 square metres of living. So there are 12 auction conditions of sale. I'll just make known a few of those. As auctioneer, I can make one bid for the seller at any time during the auction. If I do so, I'll declare that as a vendor bid. That figure will be below market value, and you're more than welcome to come in to negotiations beyond that point. In the unlikely event of a dispute, I can resubmit the property at the last undisputed bid or commence the bidding once again. The sale is subject to reserve price unless I announce otherwise. And if you are successful, hammer falls in your favour. Wow, what an opportunity. Sign the contract, pay the deposit, start celebrating. Bob, 30-day settlement or
30-day settlement.
30-day settlement?
There is a little bit of leeway there.
Okay, so if you've made arrangements with Bob, well, they'll be honoured. And as I mentioned, every dollar you put into this would probably be about $1.50 gain, just quietly, the way that in that area is spent. So it's got some good value, and it's going to be one very fortunate buy today. So I'm just going to hand you over to Bob to give his marketing summary of the property.
Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for participating in the auction today. The property at 5 Hammett Place is in one of those enviable positions. It's like everything around that Mount Rogers Ridge on that elevated portion, whether you're in Fraser off Bingley Crescent, whether you're in Melba, the high side of Melba off Benton Crescent, or Flynn off Barber Crescent. The properties that run off McGrath Crescent and Spence are fantastic properties to own and the best position to be in. Streets like Hammett Place are very difficult to find. They've all got nice wide frontages on them. The houses are nice, big, elegant places that are set back. And the owners in that position rarely move. So the opportunity that presents itself today is one that doesn't come up often anywhere in West Belconnen. So whoever the lucky buyer is today, well done. You've picked a really good spot to start your next chapter in life, and no matter what you do to the property or how you go about improving it, I'm sure that you'll find that down the track that value is going to come back to you in spades.
Thanks, Bob. Okay, we're up and running, ladies and gents. So we've had our preliminaries. We're over to you now, buyers. Where would you like to commence negotiating for number 5 Hammett Place? As you mentioned, Bob, tightly held area, and I'll say there it's. The better the area, the less properties come available. Clearly there's been very few sales of recent times. So I don't mind where we commence. We have our seller's representative on the phone. So we're here to help you. We have parties online. We have Joe Wayne, you're assisting there with as our digital scribe. So let me know when offers come through there, Joe.
Will do.
It's a good family home. I won't talk for the sake of it. You've visited it. You know the value of the property.
Now, auction is down lot. Would you like to open?
We have our team members assisting registered parties, and it's always a little awkward. I understand. It's have a few nerves as a buyer. Just look at the prize and offer. That's all I ask you to focus on the next 5 to 15 minutes. Would I like to own the keys to 5 Hammett Place? I can see myself going wild with my flair and imagination and enjoying my family home. Hello, Michael.
2580.
It's a little bit light on, Michael. I won't go anywhere near 580 to be truthful. I'm happy to appreciate that at this particular point in time. I've just rejected an offer for everyone there, convincing offer of 580. Just a little bit light on. It is 2020 moving forward. I'm all for a cheeky offer, but that's just a little bit light on.
Yeah, that's been rejected by the auctioneer, being too low.
I know you'd like a bargain, but we would never be allowed back in Hammett Place if we were considering somewhere in that sort of level. So apologies for whoever made the initial offer of 580. We appreciate it, just a little bit light on the commence.
Take 620.
620, yeah, why not? Okay.
Number 5.
Bid at number 5 at 620,000. We're up and running at 620. I'd like to see 650, 700 from there. 620, but I'm encouraging bidders to be 650 minimum the next bid, I would have thought. 620.
Oh yeah, so Joe's works, he works in figures. Yeah.
Let's get into the sevens buyers and
Yeah.
a quick step into there, I would have thought. 620,000.
625.
No, sorry, Michael. We need to get well into the sevens, like into 7, high 6s, 7, somewhere in that value. I've accepted the 620 as an opening offer. Buyers, I know you appreciate, as I say, you'd like to snap up a bargain, but just visualise if this home came on the market, well, it'd be nowhere at that sort of level. It'd certainly be at a higher level there. So 620,000. Appreciate number 5 as an opening offer. So those of you that were just online, one bidder was asking the question about a $5,000 increment, and unfortunately we're just well below market value at this stage, and
2650.
650. Okay, bidder number 2, 650. We'll accept that. May I suggest to buyers 670 or 675, or as I've mentioned, into the sevens and move on. So 650,000, 675 if I may, or 700. We're still well below market value. We don't have a great deal to talk about at the moment with negotiation, but that's okay. 650, minimum 25s, preferably 700 and beyond.
Bidder number 5, 670.
670. Were you okay with that, Dennis? I was asking for 25. Can I make it 675, sir and ma'am? We're well below where we need to be. I can't even ask for instructions at that level. So it's up to you. I'll park at the moment. I'm seeking 675.
675.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. 675. Back to number 5. 675. Maybe a little closer where we should have started, but that's okay. We've got a few showers outside. We're in our cosy boardroom, Joe. It's working a treat.
Yeah, much warmer.
We have registered parties that are either within the office or outside doing their own thing online, which is fine. We're here to assist. So 675. Let's look at 7 as a minimum for next bid. That's what I'd be encouraging, and then continue on from there. 675,000 buyers. Not much to talk about at that level. I guess if the home wasn't there at all, I would be guessing there'd be something with a 5 in front of it just for the land only. I'm thinking probably mid-5s, or maybe a little higher, closer to 600 for a prime parcel land looking opposite Mount Rogers Reserve. So, but we run with you at this stage, guys, no problems at all. 675. And live stream do take a little bit longer than if we were on site. So one, the delay of the offers, and 2, the fact that we obviously have the distancing, so we're trying our best to negotiate with buyers at that sort of point. So if you are viewing, grab yourself a cup of tea or beverage of your choice, and stay in tune. We might take a few extra minutes than we normally would to sell a property. So 675,000. Okay. Let's get to the next level buyers.
680 from 2.
I'm accepting minimum 700, Michael, otherwise we'll be here for a long time, and I hope you can appreciate it wouldn't be on an asking price anywhere near 700 to cause it to sell, you would think. So I just had 680 requested. I'm seeking minimum of 700,000, Bob, otherwise we'll move on. What we don't sell at 12:30 on a Saturday, we'll be inundated with inquiry, which will bring in conditional buyers. Bob will be smashed with inquiry, and off we go. Minimum of $700,000, Bob, or we move on.
Yep, the offer has to be a minimum of 7.
Minimum of 7. Otherwise, I've been flexible up to this point. Otherwise, I say we need to deal with market value, and we're just below that at this stage. But we appreciate you making offers. But not at 5,000 at this level.
Okay.
So we'll just see how we go there, buyers and those that are online that haven't made an offer yet? Joe, is there anyone that's come through at this stage?
Nothing,
Okay.
mate. It says the online bidding is off. I can turn that on in about a split second.
Right, we'll call me.
Would you mind just checking that, just to be on the safe side? I'm just going to pause for a moment, ladies, just to confirm that we're accepting online bidding from those that aren't. Technical glitch, we've just fixed it, so if you have been trying to make an offer online, feel free to do so now. We found what our glitch was there, Joe, fantastic. So 675, minimum 700,000, let's move on, buyers, as I say, otherwise we'll be selling to maybe a different party or somebody that says, wow, I could have bought it, and now I'm competing against more buyers that are conditional, as I mentioned, because sometimes buyers can't sign a contract, they need that extra week or two to get their finances in order, etc. So, look at the home, look at the prize, look at the offering. All those boxes are ticked. So I won't talk for the sake of it, I'm just going to step aside, ladies and gents, and Joe, could you just pop that on mute, let me know if there's something that occurs there shortly. Okay, bidder number one's entered the competition at 700,000, George, correct, on the phone there. So 700,000, back to number one, Michael. Maybe you might want to stay around the corner there and help you buy. So bidder number one, in pole position at 700,000.
That's first, fresh bidder.
Yeah, no, I've mentioned that, Dennis. New interest at 700,000, bidder number one. And I can suggest, I think a minimum of 10s. Preferably more than that, but you know, we try and do our best. We're engaged by the seller client, and we'd love buyers to buy their new family home at 700,000. $710, back to number five.
Yes,
Joe, make that an offer there, registered offer against number one, 710,000. Michael, for whatever you're doing there, you're just a step behind, so you might want to try and help out. So 710,000, bidder number five, back in front. 710, 20, 30 or 50, George, with your buyer, bidder number one that you're working with. 710,000. And if you're just viewing, you're a resident of Spence and you're saying, please don't sell that, Mr. Hooker, at that level, we're going to assure you we're not selling at 710,000. So that's just where the marketplace is. It's still a strong market within the ACT, and we've had, as of half an hour ago, 13 auctions, virtual auctions conducted since the beginning of April, which has been 5.5 weeks, and all 13 have sold. Not all under the Hammett, but they all sold within, well within a 21-day period.
720, bidder number one.
720, bidder number one, good bidding. 720, number one at 720, and 3 zeros. Okay, you've made that known there to all the viewing public. Thanks, Joe. Appreciate that. 720,000. Just think about a few trips to Bunnings if you own the property, and off you go. A little bit of TLC, but the value is clearly in the land, clearly in the bones of the home, and as we mentioned, or Bob mentioned as well, that assures capital. Your capital will be in the renovation work as a smart buyer. So 720,000, bidder number one, back in front. Okay. Bob?
730, bidder number two.
Bidder number two at 730,000. Is bidder number two new interest, Bob?
No.
Yeah.
No, okay. 730,000, bidder number two, 730. Against bidder number one and number five, and any other party that's online wanting to secure a great property in Hammett Place. So 730,000, bidder number two.
Frank, will you take fives?
Prefer 10s at this stage, George. I feel that's, you know, it's a tightly held enclave, it's a great location. We've gone over that several times. So seeking 740 and beyond if we can.
There you go, 740.
We're still below market value. Try not to be difficult buyers, but I feel that that, you know, we're trying to get somewhere that we can start negotiating the last nuts and bolts and having somebody sign a contract. So 7, Joe, where are we at?
Right, 7:30.
7:30.
Bidder number 2.
Thank you very much. 730, bidder number 2. Bob, if we had it on the market at 730,000, we'd have a line up from here to the Harbour Bridge, I would have thought, to try and buy it. So,
Grant Road, south of Ferry, who wants the house.
That's where we're at the moment. As I've mentioned, that we haven't really, in the property market, apart from doing things a little differently with social distancing, the ACT has kept quite strong. Very strong, as a matter of fact, with multiple parties, with any property on a parcel of land. Obviously, this one has one of the larger parcel land of 1,239 square metres. So 730,000, 740 if we may. Okay, 730.
And 730 is with number 2.
That's correct,
Yes.
Bob. Yep, 730, bidder number 2. Can we see what number 1, number 5, or any other party would like to do? Bidder number 2 at 730. It'll be one of those where you'll say, you know, I really tried to buy it and I didn't on the day, and then you won't be driving past Hammett Place again going, wow, I'm a little silly. I should have just gone for a bold bid and bought it, and got the paintbrush and the toolbox out.
Still
and
saying
started.
intents, that doesn't change.
Okay. I'm just going to pause the auction one more time there. Thanks, ladies and gents.
now.
On.
Okay, guys, we're still at 730,000. Just had a chat on behalf of the with the representative on behalf of the public trustee to see where they're at, etc. We're not selling at 730, but here's a clue that if we can start engaging some conversations with buyers, there will be a buyer for the home in the next 5 or 10 minutes. So 730, where do we need to go, George?
Thanks, 740.
740,000 back to number one,
One.
back in pole position, 740,000. Bob, could you just seek our instructions from our representative on behalf of the public trustee? 740,000, bidder number one. First call at 740,000.
Are we on the market?
Not quite, George, but your buyer's in front. I'd suggest they consider a counter to try and secure it, because you know how we work with this on behalf of the public trustee, that we can go back to the open marketplace on Monday.
Yep.
Second call at 740. Buyers, you've been sitting back. Do I want to look at the brochure, or do I want the keys of number 5 Hammett? That's what you need to make a decision on at the moment. 740,000. Bob, George, have a bit of a chat in a quiet area there. Oh, actually, I'll have a bit of a conversation with you. I'm just going to come back, buyers, in a moment. Okay, yep, just you and I.
Hang on, it's okay. He's talking to me. It's okay, guys. Yeah, it's okay.
Live stream's showing that.
Sure, like if you
Frank.
if you know how to walk through it.
Bidder number 2 is getting 2. What? Would you take that? Or would you want 2? 742.
We're 2.5. We're 2.5, so we're good to keep moving. As long as you're on the conversation with the public trustee. So have a good conversation there. So we're getting 742.5 from bidder number. So back to bidder number 2 at 742.5.
There you go.
And I'm just seeking some instructions from our sellers at the moment. So 742.5. We're getting closer. Maybe one bold bid could just about secure the property. We're not quite sure at the moment. 742.5. So that's why I mentioned before, it takes a little longer than if we were on site, where we could be a little closer together there, Joe, and having conversation.
Bid number 1, 745.
745, bidder number 1 back in front. 745. 745,000.
Yeah.
Bidder number 1, pole position. So I can't do anything without seller's instructions, as you can appreciate. So Bob Murphy, our representative, is having a conversation with them as we speak. 745, 750, sir and ma'am. Okay. If you reconsider, just give me a hoy. That's okay. Bang on the desk, do something. We'll just get my attention. 745,000. Okay. Again, I will pause, ladies and gents, because I want to make sure there's clear communication between myself and the seller. Thank you. Okay, thanks ladies and gents for your patience. We, as I say, we're working as close as we can with negotiating.
Where are we at right now, Frank?
745,
Let me
bidder number 1.
I just heard that.
Yeah, that's
It's
because of
it's
the call coming.
rain.
We didn't put my phone on do not disturb, so just...
let me
Right.
talk to the
Okay.
president.
What's that mean?
I swear.
Okay, do you put on do not disturb or?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, we've been given clear instructions from the sellers of where we need to be is effectively the line in the sand. We just have a small gap to bridge at the moment, and if you're a potential party or a party out there that is just on that cusp of around the 745, I'd highly recommend you give consideration. We've given parties a thought of where they need to be. It's just such a small increment to purchase the home today. Otherwise, we change it on all the websites, we come on the market as I've mentioned, it's just the way it works, and there'll be buyers that will say, well, let me just go get a little bit more money from the bank, let me wait a couple of days to get my finance approved, or I'm waiting for a property to sell interstate, and there's interest that comes at a higher level in most instances. So I just want to be very clear on that where we're at, in particular with our seller clients. So we'll come back to you ladies and gents. I know it's taking a little bit of time, but as I mentioned, it's just the way our new world is at the moment. Thank you. Okay, we've got an increase from bidder number 2 to 755, ladies and gentlemen. I feel there's going to be a sold sticker very, very shortly.
760, Frank.
760,000, bidder number 1. We're now officially on the market to be sold. We have permission to sell at 760,000. There's no further bids or offers. Bidder number 1, I'll be congratulating you in about the next 2.5 minutes. So I'm just going to let everyone sit back now, gather your thoughts. We actually now have permission to sell the property. New owner, contract, and you'll say, wow, I delayed.
Frank, auctioneer, public trustee said 760.
All good to go, yep. No, I've already, so 760.
Frank.
Well, we're trying our best. They're saying, Mr. Auctioneer, sell it. I just want to make sure, Dennis, could you make sure bidder number 2, otherwise I'm selling. We're down to 2 parties. Bidder number 1, in front. Just got to do my job, ladies and gents. I know you'd say, Mr. Auctioneer, just knock it down, sell it to me, prime property, opposite Mount Rogers Reserve. Just doing the right thing, engaged by the seller to do the right thing. And the young fellas are playing games behind me there, that's okay. We're having a bit of
Social
fun.
media, Frank.
We are having a bit of fun. So we've got that registered there, 760,000. I'm just going to seek if number 2 is in or out. Hopefully number 1 for your sake.
Come on.
Well, come on. Okay, one moment.
Let's go. We've got to sell it.
Okay,
What a buy.
sell it. We're gonna sell it.
Yeah, that sucks. That video's bad.
Well, that's always going to happen. Put it this way. I mean, look, they haven't done anything yet. But any, the risk is that's always going to happen. And vice versa for them too. I mind. I better be careful when I say that.
Okay, back on.
Ready? 3, 2, 1.
Bidder number 2 is now 765, ladies and gents. George, you'll need to go back to bidder number 1. They almost had the keys in the hand. Unfortunately for them, fortunate for bidder number 2, we're at 765, Bob. Bidder number 2. I'll give bidder number 1 the same courtesy. 765,000. As I mentioned, we are changing hands, exchanging contracts, and as I mentioned, Bunnings will be your friend for the first few weeks, getting in there and a lick of paint and a few cosmetic changes. Fantastic. So I'll give bidder number 1 the same opportunity, but bidder number 2, you're in front, 765.
$2,000 more, Frank.
767. Bob, can you relay that back to Michael, number 1? We're at 767. Back to bidder number 1. Bidder number 2 is out. 767,000. Bidder number 1. I'll just step aside for the moment, ladies and gents. Do you want, if you're going to... Okay, back to number 2 at 769,000, ladies and gents. 769, bidder number 2. Dennis, I now know you're assisting bidder number 1, is that correct? Yep. George has had to duck off to an appointment, so Dennis is now assisting bidder number 1. So 769, Joe, bidder number 2.
Correct.
Right, definitely? Okay. Bidder number 1, 770.
770, back in front to bidder number 1. Hopefully the line and the communication is clear to bidder number 2. So I'm just going to step aside because Michael, one of our team members, is assisting bidder number 2 at the back of the office. So I'll just make sure everyone's clear with communication. Thank you. Okay, 772,000 back to the bidder number 2. So appreciate number 1 hanging in there. Think about your strategy, maybe one big bold bid, lock in those interest rates closer to 2% than 3% these days, less than 2.5%, lock them in, look at your capital grow, tightly held enclaves, I should say, cul-de-sac location, opposite Mount Rogers Reserve, prime real estate. So 772,000 bidder number 2.
1, 2, sorry.
Is that okay, Joe? Don't confuse the auction.
Sorry, mate.
And I'm easily confused.
On
So
yours.
bidder number 2 is in front. And thank
On
you, Michael,
deals.
from coming around to the
all right,
back of
Fred.
the office. It'll make
You
it
can see me now.
That's true. In all your wisdom. Okay, just seeking where we are. I'll give bidder number 1 the same opportunity to consider their options, whether they'd like to increase from 772.
773.
73 plus 700,000. Back to bidder number 1. 1 and 2 are jostling.
Number 1 is on the phone as well. So
Okay, bidder number 1, thank you very much for your offer. 773,000, you're in front again. Clearly 2 buyers want to buy it. Very hard to replace, Bob, isn't it? To find another one saying, I'll just wait around to find something else on
You never find another spot.
It's,
like that. And if you do, you'll be paying more.
around a third of an acre.
775.
775, bidder number 2.
Get that well now.
775,000, just give me the nod there, Michael, making sure that they've...
775.
Thank you very much. 775,000, bidder number 2 back in front. And it seems so long ago we started somewhere in the 5s, but that's okay. It's the way it works, ladies and gents, and as I mentioned, it's a little bit longer process, but you can sit back in your lounge chair and enjoy making an offer and buying a substantial family home, such as number 5, Hammett. 775, back to number 2. Just see where Dennis has gone there, if there's anything happening. I'll just step aside one more moment there. Thanks, ladies and gents. So $1,000 increment to 776
So it's
for bidder number 1.
at this point.
776,000, 5 Hammett Place. I'd be curious to see, driving past in the next couple of years, of what the new owner will do to the property and say, that was the best move I made, coming
It's a
back to
fantastic street.
Yeah.
fantastic street, Bob. You're a local in the area, you know the values. Been selling a lot of properties in the area over the last 17 years.
780.
Seven-
bidder number 2.
Thank you, Michael, very, very clear. 780, back to bidder number 2. So, number 1, it's your decision. Do I stay in 1,000? Do I try and shake it up a little? Now's the time to consider your options. 780 against your party, Dennis.
Okay, 780 against us.
I think that's been very bold to do that.
As as I mentioned, you look not only at the enjoyment of a DIY project, but there's so much room to do a lot of your own personal flair.
781 from bidder number 1.
81, bidder number 1. Okay, 781, bidder number 1.
Go away, Dennis.
Okay, another.
He's the person who bid it.
What do you think, Michael? Some good. You've given good advice to bidder number 2. Maybe another bid of 785 might be the way to go. It nearly worked. Nearly worked last time.
You hear that?
Bidder number 1 strategy is 1,000. Maybe bidder number 2 strategy
What do you
has
want?
been and should continue to be to knock it up to the next $5,000 increment
So,
or level. So it's 781.
781.
what do you want?
First call,
78250.
782 and a half. Back to number 2. So if you're watching live stream still, number 1, it's back to the brochure, and number 2 has the keys. 782 and a half, Dennis.
83.
83
It's getting
plus
silly now.
700,000. 783,000, back to number 1.
I would hit them immediately at 785 and just show.
Good sound advice, Michael.
So that they anyway, up to you, but
Very hard to draw that line in the sand. Do I pay $500 more at 83 and a half, or possibly 785 maybe on the contract to secure my new dream family home?
come on, now come here. You're
Okay.
playing the game with me.
We're having fun there,
785.
Michael. We need an increase, otherwise we're selling. I'll call it 3 times.
What do you want?
That's exactly the question. What would you like to do?
784.
784. 784,000, back to number 2. True and correct, Joe?
True and correct, right?
Thank you. They've just opened up the door for a 785 from bidder number 1, I think. Okay, 784, bidder number 2.
So we're going to 785. 785.
785, number 1, pole position.
Okay. It's bidder number 1 at 785.
785,000.
Well, you've got 785 there.
We've got our sellers on the line, they're obviously comfortable. We've got our bidders number 1.
Bidder number 1.
Yeah, all good. Yeah, all take a note there, Dennis. Bidder number 1's in front.
So I'll
785.
put that in now.
Be bold, number 2.
Yes. 786.
786.
Back to number 2.
786,000, back to number 2.
No.
Very hard to replace.
You, 2. You're 2.
You're 2, yes. I'm looking at Michael, who's talking to the phone to bidder number 2. So if you're listening or watching bidder number 2, you're in front at 786,000. Be very, very clear, buyers.
What's the current bid?
Right,
7
786 with bidder number 2.
786.
Okay.
I need to call it.
Dennis, I need to call it to move on. First call, 786
We're out.
out.
I think
Second call, Hammer Rises. Third call. Are they definitely out, Dennis? Dennis, can we just confirm? Definitely out?
Thank you.
We're selling. First,
Bob?
second, third, final call. Definitely out?
Bob?
Congratulations, bidder number 2. Well bought.
That's-
On behalf of Eligible Bill Connon, thank you for attending another auction. We hope to help you in the near future. Enjoy your weekend. Thank you.
I'm advised that this auction assisted, so you've all done very well.
Well done.
I'll get
Thanks, Mr.
Bob to give you a call out and talk about organising the finalising the paperwork. Just in front of Bob. I'm going to get Adam to give you a call now.
Yes, I've got most of his details. I've got 5,000, but you'll need the rest.
So you'll just need to. Alright. Okay, I've just got hold of Bob, Adam, and he will give you a call in a couple of minutes.
Well done.
Just to do it.
Well done.
And so thank you very much indeed.
Well done, big boy. Get off my
No
phone.
worries, mate. Yeah, cheers.
And
Gonna
thank
head
you,
off.
Aaron.